Welcome to the Veracity Networks Tutorials channel. This short tutorial will show you how to administer auto attendants on your Veracity Networks Dashboard, the dashboard being our new interface for administering your systems or our phone system. It does not replace the old BroadSoft system. You can still use that one too. There's a separate tutorial for that one inside the admin playlist, the original admin playlist. So we're going to go into auto attendants. We're in the dashboard. And we're going to go into auto attendants, and I've got two in there. I've got the basic one, which is the old basic one that most of our customers have because we've had it so long. But we also have a new one we call the standard license one, which has a little bit more functionality, which we'll cover during this video. So there's a couple things you can view in here. We'll start with the basic one. This is where you can set your calling line ID. And if you click here, it'll collapse it back up. If you click here, you can see your calls. Now, this is a demo environment, so we don't really have calls in this one, but you could in your own environment. If you click the View Call Details, it'll give you more detail. You can set a date and time range, and you can do it by an individual phone or for all of your users. And you can have it exported to a PDF file or a CSV file. And I'm going to click into the last 20 calls. Now, you can go back much further than 20 calls. With this new interface, you can go back as many as 500 calls. And it goes back further in time, at least 120 days. I believe it might even be 6 months. So you might just need to do smaller, chunkier little reports and then combine them all together. And when you do, you'll get all these different fields of information. So I'm going to go ahead and click that one back out and collapse that one. We're going to go into the main area where you'll probably be doing stuff, and that's in the settings. As you can see, there's Business Hours tab and an After Hours tab. And you can use a default greeting, which would be RoboVoice saying, one to dial by name, two to dial by extension. And you can actually choose whether or not they can even dial by extension in the first level without going through the prompt. Some people want their callers to listen to recordings of, your call may be monitored for quality assurance purposes and similar. You could disable first level extension dialing that way. There's a bunch of different options that you can set up when you do a new one. We're going to go through and cover all of the options. The first one is we strongly recommend that you have a transfer to operator option, zero key conventionally. If somebody calls and they don't choose an auto attendant selection within the default's 10 seconds, that can actually be changed. Then it'll just send it off to somewhere. Otherwise, it'll terminate the call. And so you can set that to go to an extension or to a full phone number. You've got transfer with prompt, where a RoboVoice says that your call is being transferred and then it transfers, or you can transfer without the prompt. You can set for name dialing, extension dialing. Do one to voicemail is kind of tricky on this one. In BroadSoft, the old interface, there was an option in the drop-down for going to voicemail. This one doesn't have that, so what you have to do is you put in to voicemail. Transfer without prompt, and then do it to *55 and whatever extension you want the voicemail to go to. So if extension 101 has a voicemail associated with it, and you put in *55 101, then if people choose that number 5 option, it'll send them to the voicemail for extension 101. There's an exit option, which just hangs up the phone. Seems like it'd be easier to hang up the phone, but you've got that option. And we also recommend using the repeat menu options for the star key and for the hashtag or pound key, because a lot of people know to use that, or a lot of people are used to having that available. There's a detailed settings link here in the lower right hand corner where you can do some more details. It'll pop up to a new window. And we're starting off in the profile tab. Calling features and my calls is another way you can see the calls, but you can see the calls anyway from the front dashboard area. The utilities doesn't really have anything that's useful to an auto attendant. So we'll stick to the profile. And as you can see, there's more stuff. You'll want to make sure that your time zone is set to mountain time. And you'll want to set what your business hours are, assuming you've created a schedule. Schedules are covered in a separate tutorial. If you haven't created your own schedules, then it'll just default to every day, all day, 24/7, 365. It'll just use this same one. We're going to use business hours. If you had a holiday, you could put holidays, otherwise it'd just be none. And you come down here. Again, you can set your greetings here. Initially, it'll just show default and personal. But if you click and choose personal, it'll pop up and give you an option to upload your audio. Or you can call into your voice portal and record it there as an announcement and then associate it to here. Or you could call us up at customer service group and we'd be more than happy to do the recording for you. You do need to have your script written out in advance so that we know what it is you want written. If you prefer a male or a female voice, let us know on that too. You can email us at csgroup@veracitynetworks.com. It does not have to be this long one, just C and S and group@veracitynetworks.com will do the trick. There's some privacy option here too. Not really going to be much. You may have some calling features, like sometimes people set up where they've got voicemail on their auto attendant. It's unusual, but it's doable. If you had that, then you'd have to have somebody remembering to call in and check the voicemail, or you could have those voicemails sent to an email or a group of emails for that matter. And what we're going to do is we got two different options for getting into the standard licensing that I was telling you about. One thing I should cover on that though, and this is a new system for us, a new interface I should say, is that if you go in here and you try and go into the settings for the standard auto attendant, it doesn't give you information like the basic one does. We're still working on that. But that isn't a problem because all you need to do to manage the standard one is go up into group services, choose to drop down the standard one. You don't have to hit enter either. It'll start spinning right away. So again, you've got the profile, a new menu called submenus that we'll cover here in a bit, and then calling features, my calls, and utilities you probably don't need to worry about so much. The other differences here are in the drop down. On the old BroadSoft system, there was an option to play an announcement, like say for instance your specials for the week or your directions on how to get to your place or your hours of operation. You can't do that from the new interface, so you'll need to use the old BroadSoft interface. Again, there's a training video for that in the regular admin playlist. What's new in here is it's got a transfer to submenu option, and it's got a repeat. Well, it will here in a bit have a previous menu. Let's do one. So we got a new one. You can click add to add one. You might need to have to scroll up or whatever down. In this case, I'm recording on a laptop that's got a pretty small screen. You put your name in and you can set all your submenu options. And so in this new system, or a new interface, what it does is it'll play the greeting 3 times. And if they never choose an option, then it'll send them to whatever operator you've got configured, like we discussed earlier. If there's no operator configured, then it'll just be terminated. Then you might have to scroll down to close or save it. In this case, though, we've already got menus created, sample menus. And if you go into the sample menus, let's go into submenu 2, for instance, and edit it. So inside here, now that we're in a submenu, you get an option of return to previous menu. And then one other factor is if you pop out into this part here, you no longer have a dashboard option up at the top. That's something we'd like to change, of course, but the way you'll have to get back if you need to is to just hit the back button over and over until you get back to the screen that has the dashboard on it. And it's that simple. Thanks for watching and have a great day.